I have to start that because you just said my ghost is on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, there's a ghost of you with a bunch of lights behind you. What the heck is that? How do I get rid of that? There,
Um, Gone
now it's
now?
gone, but the
Okay.
blank is still. There we go. All right, we're good.
All right.
So anyway, here's my shirt. Viewers,
Uh,
what's the date? Everybody knows the day. Woohoo! My
I,
Thriller jacket. I bought this when Thriller came out in the clothing district in New York by the World Trade Center. So it's Friday the 13th.
I thought you were Michael Jackson today.
It is Michael Jackson.
Thriller.
Thriller.
Yeah,
But
Thriller.
Thriller is a horror, and I'm going to a big Friday the 13th party tonight. This is
Okay.
what I'm wearing. So
Seems like you're
it's
going to a party every Friday night.
that's true. Most weeknights too. Party till you rock. I'm living the Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway lifestyle. I've been to his place in the Keys.
Okay.
So anyway, the Blue Book. You've never seen this one?
I have
Any
not.
all the that one hater who keeps demanding to like an obsession with the document examiners,
Hmm.
wanting to know their names, and I have my file up in the attic from 40 years ago, wanting to know their names. I didn't know they were all listed in this book. All the and all their credentials. They were some top-notch people, but all five of them are at the end of the British edition of the
So
book.
next week, we will read that. I'll get a copy of that somehow and we can talk about that. Or do you want to
You
do it
see,
now?
you don't have this one, right? Do
I
you
do
have the
not.
paperback? Did you ever
No, I
read
just have this.
did you ever read Charles Hamilton's preface from
Somebody
that's beautiful. You know
somebody
what he
sent it to
called
me.
it? One of the greatest love stories in history. And it has his affidavit from certifying it. So do I have an opening stat? I don't even know what the agenda is today. You didn't tell me.
The agenda,
Are
I
we
think
doing
that
the aftermath or something else?
read the aftermath.
All right, Lucy's aftermath, the highlights. She said all the criticism and naysayers she went through proved her right in keeping it secret, which I thought was very powerful. She knew there would be a swarm of hatred and criticism, and sure enough, 10 years after Elvis' death, when she came out, the swarm of hatred and criticism came. And then she said something that viewing her love story like a CSI police crime lab,
Mhm.
quote, strips them of its soul, strips her love story of its soul. And she feared it would happen, and it happened. Uh, she talks about how mad she was at me for going to the handwriting experts. Apparently, there are three misspellings in the poem that Charles Hamilton said were common Elvis misspellings he found in other writings. The same misspellings, same exact misspellings. And so she said it was finally scientifically verified, but she said love does not need vindication. She said there is more proof, referring to the tapes and other things she had that she held from me. And Desiree was 28 when the book came out, if people want to know. Now, in my section, I quoted that I had forgot that I should have said. The top of the poem says, it's not even the poem, it's something Elvis wrote at the top. Seen only by the eyes of my love, you're my life. He's telling her, do not show this to anybody. That was
Mm.
Elvis' top of the poem, which shows why it took me 2 years to get it. And Lucy explained how I finally got it by sweet talking her for 2 years. So, but seen only by the eyes of my love. There you go. people wonder why Lucy? Why didn't she give us the poem? The publishers, the editors freaking out. And she kept repeating that line he wrote at the top in his handwriting. And three misspelled words, Charles Hamilton found the same. He called them Elvis's creative spellings that he was well aware of, that nobody else in the world but Elvis, Lucy, and Charles Hamilton. Lucy didn't even know he did that repeatedly. And Lucy, in her thing, she said she didn't care about selling books, and if she made a profit, she just wanted to give it to Desiree. That was it. If there was just one copy that she could give to Desiree, she was happy. And then I name all the document examiners. There were U.S. Custom inspectors and FBI, and all kind of credentials. And then Hamilton, he was very excited. He wrote the whole preface about thinking it would be another fraud and then pulling it out. He said it was halfway out of the FedEx envelope when he knew it was true because he had studied so much of Elvis. Pulled it out and said, "This is Elvis." And the guy's name that was on Entertainment Tonight, his name from Texas was, I don't know, Ray Walker or something like that. What's his name? Ray Walker, the Dallas. He had all kind of credentials. He said he worked on it for 60 hours. 60 hours he studied that. And Hamilton said Elvis had confirmed the book from the grave. From the grave, Elvis confirmed Are You Lonesome Tonight and Lucy's spelling. And he called it one of the all-time great love stories. So there you go.
I love it. Now, of course, I
You
read
got to
some of the
read that.
afterwards.
You got to read those three aftermaths from that book. You need to get there's a psychic, there's a psychic in the comment section.
Okay, okay.
I don't know if you've read her. She said she's been talking to Elvis for a year.
Now, is this? Yeah, I think I know who that is. I think that somebody sent me an email about her. That maybe the writings she writes auto writing, maybe.
Something like that. But she said she may be, I don't know. I had her name somewhere, but anyway, she's in the comment section. That's going off. I know you don't like that psychic stuff, but a lot of the Elvis loved it, and so do a lot of your fans. They all love that psychic stuff.
Hey,
So
now you didn't quote me. What I said was that your book is the original, and I know that the book that she wrote, the psychic book that I did order, your book is the original, and you said, hey, it was basically rewriting Are You Lonesome Tonight, a lot of the same stuff. Now, I didn't want to, not that I'm accusing her of taking from your book or whatever like that, but I didn't want to cheapen what you know is true, what Lucy knows is true, what Desiree knows is true. I wanted to kind of keep it about this. I may read it somewhere down the road, in a sense, just out of curiosity to everybody, and but I know that your book that you spent hundreds of thousands, 1,000 hours. How much? I don't know how long you spent on it, but you spent years on
years,
this book.
a year or more.
And to me, that's really what we need to focus on. And I did read the afterword. I did read it on the channel, by the way, and people were blown away.
Lucy's.
Lucy,
It was only
Lucy's statement.
Lucy's, so it wasn't
Yes,
mine.
not yours,
Mine
just
was
Lucy.
all about the proof. Oh, with another line. The Washington Post, when Hamilton came out, they called it the morning of Desiree's ascension.
Hmm.
So the Washington Post in the summer of 87 said it was the morning of Desiree's ascension as Elvis's princess. Washington Post.
All
So
right.
there you go.
That's something
They
else for us
called
to
it
look
again
into.
King Edward and Wallace Simpson, but Lucy refused to let the king risk his throne. And instead of Wallace Simpson, who married the King of England and he lost his throne. So she's even a greater love story. I should read my own books more.
You know what? I can relate. I'm a songwriter. I've written thousands of songs, and when somebody asks me to sing something that I wrote when I was 18 or 20, I'm like, gosh, I can remember a little bit of it, but I can't remember all of it because, you've written a lot of other books. So some
Yeah.
of the details you have to kind of look to go, oh gosh, yeah, that was written. Yes, I did say that. Yes, I did research it. And people don't get that. They don't understand it because they're not a writer. They don't understand how your brain can only hold so much.
Yeah, and that one guy been hounding me for the other document examiners. And I said, "Oh man, I don't want to climb up in my attic. There's no ladder. It's unfinished, dusty files, scorpions, and all kind of ghosts up there." And and I obviously thinks I'm throwing him off. And there I go. I read today, just an hour ago, I read the British edition, and they're all named in there. Hey, here's another thing. I just got baptized. I'm fixing my hair because like 45 minutes ago, my sink exploded. And right after I dolled all up for the interview, the handle came off the sink and it sprayed all over, got me wet again. I'm trying to get my hair ready. So Elvis baptized me today. I got baptized by the king, Elvis the Baptist. Isn't that something, all this stuff that's happening to both of us? And did you see
Well,
where Guadalajara was Elvis's uh, finale for the movie Fun in Acapulco?
yeah, I did know that, but then that was the joke I made to my wife. I was like, "Hey, we need to go to Guadalajara." Then I sang Guadalajara, Guadalajara,
Yeah,
and but yeah, very very interesting. And I
I'm
don't know if you
still,
saw, my phone fell about 5 minutes ago, right past the camera. So Elvis just knocked the phone off.
yeah, he's with us. He's loving this. All the other crap on the internet, he's not paying attention, but he's right here. I just got baptized. That's a joke, He was a big jokester. He saw me panicking. Maybe he thought I needed to calm down or something, so he baptized me in my bathroom. Man, I'm glad I had the lower little turn off things because it was just whoo right before we went on. So my hair, I was looking so good before that. Then I got soaked on Friday the 13th. See?
There you go.
See? Elvis is playing tricks, but he thanks me. In Guadalajara, there's still a connection. I haven't seen that with Desiree. What was her story
So
about?
I can't share it. It's a personal thing about her husband. That being said, that was the strangest thing because once again, for no damn reason, my phone redirected me to
Yeah.
Guadalajara while I'm 15 minutes from home. And then I get on a phone call about an hour and a half later, and 20 minutes into the call, I share about Anson, my son dying, and some of the
Uh-huh.
stuff that's happened in my life. And then she shared about, because I asked her about her husband and her mom. I said, gosh, in a span of 6 years, you lost your mom and you lost your husband. And she shared something. She says, don't tell anybody. Don't share this with anybody. It's just very personal. And told me a story. And about 5 minutes into it, at almost the apex of the story, pretty much, she says Guadalajara. It was a place that was associated with her husband. That's very important to the story. And I said, God, Desiree, hold on, I got to send you something. I had the presence of mind for whatever reason to screenshot it, probably because I thought it was funny. Really.
Just flashed again.
There you go.
Probably when you're talking Elvis flash, Elvis has got to learn to flash when I'm on the screen. Because I see it just flashed again. And
Uh,
here's the connection. I just got the connection. Remember, I said that even though we know Guadalajara and it did it, there had to be the circle, the connection. I've been talking with all your Spanish fans on your channel. Thank goodness for the translation mode, which is
mhm,
really good, by the way, on
it
YouTube.
is.
I mean, it's perfect. They're writing in Spanish, especially Marta. Yo, Marta, you've been really great writing her long things in Spanish and the translations. So now I know because we were talking about is if Elvis ever sang a song in Spanish. I asked Marta that and some of the other Spanish people, and they didn't know. They didn't know. And the next thing you know, he sends us Elvis is saying Guadalajara, the end, the big climactic scene of Fun in
Mhm.
Acapulco. I sang the whole song in Spanish. He
Yeah.
apparently did a I don't know if his Spanish was good. I asked Marta if his Spanish is good.
I've asked other people too. The dialect is phenomenal. Like his pronunciations is
Yeah,
amazing. And that wasn't the first time he did a song in German for his GI Blues. So this is a very intelligent man, Elvis Presley, and
yeah.
and he sang it beautifully. I mean,
And isn't that something? He's answering the commenters. Elvis is not only watching, he's reading the comments. And he said, come on, people, see the end of Fun in Acapulco with Ursula Andress was his co-star in that movie. One of the three clone wives of the director, John something.
yeah,
Married Ursula Andress, Linda Evans, who I know personally and escorted around her tennis tournament from Dynasty. And then he married Bo Derek.
hmm
And they all look alike. They're all practically identical. He just kept getting a young, every 10 years, he'd marry another one, the director. But yeah, so thank you, Elvis, for reminding us you did sing a song in Spanish. Did you
yeah.
look up that scene? Someone
Oh
put
yeah,
the link.
I'm very familiar to it with, but
Oh,
I could never sing the song first off because I can't sing in Spanish, and he rolls his R's beautifully,
yeah.
like he's really a Spaniard. He's rolling his R's phenomenally.
Yeah. And he didn't do it live. The lip syncing in the video is off, but he obviously recorded it in the studio and got all the Spanish very good. I didn't even
Yep.
know there was a song about Guadalajara, but now we know.
Now we
So
know.
thank you, Elvis. But
So
you
full
didn't have to
circle.
but you didn't have to soak me before this interview,
And
playful Elvis.
some background here. I was late. I had the message Dary. I said, "Look, I'm busy doing a bunch of work. I've got some projects to complete." It was I was like, "Okay, it's going to be 30 minutes. Oh, another 10. Oh, another 15. Oh,
Yeah.
another 5." So in between there, Elvis decided to spray Dary and mess with his hair.
Yeah. Playing with me, and he knows how fetish I am or crazy I am about my hair looking good. And
Yep.
right before it, boom, like a whole fountain going up, like America's funniest home videos. Right before I go on. How about what a silliness, but he's a playful guy.
And I don't know why I took you seriously, but when you said I just got baptized, for a second I thought, man, for somebody who just got baptized, he's wearing a Friday the 13th shirt, a Michael Jackson outfit, and his hair sure looks perfect. I don't think anybody notices that you got sprayed. Yeah, so you had enough time to blow dry it.
I I re-blow dried it. It looked better before Elvis baptized me with that. Maybe he was mad that I'm wearing the Michael Jackson stuff. Could be Elvis mad that his daughter married Michael Jackson. That might be it.
Yeah, it's Michael Jackson, the self-proclaimed king of pop. Elvis Presley, don't call me king. There's only one king, that's Jesus. So there's a little difference there
Yeah.
in between the two legends. And we were watching 1970 Elvis. That's the way it is. My wife and I were in bed 2 nights ago, just kind of watching it, and Elvis did a couple dance moves like this, which is exactly what the Jackson Five did 5 years later
Uh,
when he took Lisa, or 7 years later when he took Lisa to the concert. Of course, you can't really see it on here, but he's moving his hips and he's doing it, and it's like I was like, Michael Jackson, amazingly talented. We know that he's one of the most talented artists of all time, regardless of what's believed about him.
yeah.
But he took some stuff from Elvis.
Well, everybody did. Elvis was the original. Elvis was the king. Nobody danced like that. Elvis got ridiculed and scorned by preachers, and it was the end of civilization when he was shaking his hips, Elvis to pelvis. The famous Ed Sullivan filmed him from the waist up. I
hmm
think Lucy said in the book she liked it because she could see his face, but she could see his face close up. So they had to cut him. But
Yeah.
anyway, Michael Jackson I only do this because I have this jacket. I bought it in New York by the fashion district in New York right after Thriller came out. I got the bad one too. But anyway, it's
Well,
Friday
well,
the
I only do this. This is my gold version. I had a silver version last time because it's like Guadalajara, baby.
Yeah.
So hey, I
Not the
want to go back
gold,
to
not his
Nathan.
famous gold lame.
Oh yeah,
Remember his gold lame? That would be cool.
that's too much money for me to try to find something made of gold. Um, I'd have to
Probably
get a
had,
can of spray paint, Dary, with a white shirt, and maybe I could do it. You know,
yeah. They
gold.
must have it somewhere. If he had it
Oh
in the 50s, they got to have it
yeah,
somewhere after that.
my wife saw the sweater that you could order from Jailhouse Rock. His green sweater with the collar up there, and
Uh-huh.
because I said, I love sweaters. I like to wear sweaters when I do my videos. And she looked at it. It was like $189. I'm like, I don't like sweaters that much.
Exactly. It's probably at Goodwill for $4.99, $4.99. But
Something like it. Hey, I'm going to go back with you talking about the 5 people that authenticated the poem because that's one of the things that Desiree and I talked to. I asked her, what do you still have? And she told me she still has the poem, that she didn't sell it, that she never put it up for sale. So,
yeah,
so my guess on that part is that you know how people are trying to steal money from Graceland and put it up. They try to put it up for sale to get money and extort people. Somebody probably tried to put it up for sale and get earnest money from bidders, a down deposit, like a deposit, in order to bid
right.
on it and stole money. And then secondly, she said she still has the poem. And like I said, so she has the letter that her mother Lucy wrote to Elvis in the hospital. She still has that. She has the
Uh-huh.
cards. Um, I did ask her if she had the envelope, any envelopes, and she did say no. That the because we were thinking, okay, DNA. She desperately wants to get
Yeah.
authentic DNA, real DNA, not a switch and bait and switch. She wants to get authentic DNA so she can actually claim her birthright name. She doesn't care about the money. But she did also say all 5 of those documents. She has all 5 of those documents authenticated. She still has those.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're
but
all named, so if that naysayer is going to hunt them down, I don't know what he's going to do with the names. They're probably all deceased. One guy was a biochemistry professor at the University of Miami, one of the document examiners who, I don't know, biochemistry, and I guess that's how they did the diaries or something to realize that they were from the 50s,
okay.
biochemistry. So he was beyond just a document examiner. We'll see what he says.
So
And
let's go back to that. That's something that I don't think was a detail that we talked about.
they
The
talk about,
diary.
oh, we talk about the tapes. Lucy talked about the tapes,
Hmm.
why she hasn't released them, and her afterward, and how that she was torn over what to do. But maybe does Desiree have the tapes? Did she tell you?
So we talked about that. I mean, I'm going to be putting a video out about that. She does have an answer to it. I'm not sure if it's going to please the naysayers, in all honesty. But to me, first off, she did say this. My mom told me that there are things on this that a daughter shouldn't hear between a man and a woman.
True.
Now, if
That
you
was
can
my
think about it,
speculation.
first off, you can, we've all had conversations with our lovers before. And sometimes it goes in a direction that's not just sweet and simple. Sometimes it goes into talking about love making and stuff. I'm assuming that's part of what was on the tapes and why Lucy would have been horrified to release
Yeah.
any tapes at all to a society that had just welcomed and embraced the stupid book by Albert Goldman and claimed that it
Right.
was the most authentic book and the real Elvis that could be. That's what society
Yeah.
and the National Enquirer and all these organizations, that's what they cared about. Fear sells, smut sells. It always did. So she would not have trusted anybody that only a portion of the tape would be released.
Right. And it's my theory that they're playing around and kissing, and they left the tape on when they made love. That's what I'm thinking. The
Well,
tape
I
was
don't think.
on the whole time. Can you imagine what that's worth?
Yeah, I mean,
Wow. That's
I'm,
probably
I'm not
worth.
gonna I'm not gonna say that she didn't say that to me, but she
Lucy,
did
I
talk
mean,
about.
Desiree doesn't know.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't
I don't
know.
know if
Yeah,
she ever listened to it, but that's my theory. And it's like the poem where he says at the top, "This is only for your eyes. Don't ever release this," you
Yeah.
know? And Charles Hamilton said the same thing I've been saying. It's Elvis's only song he ever wrote. It's like what the Grammy Award winning rock star who recorded it now, and it's on hold with yours. All the
Right.
songs are on hold. And then I read my own writing where I not only called the Presley estate to put the poem in the book, I wrote them a formal letter and they denied it. So how do you deny? You denied a story and that Elvis didn't write it, but it's ours, but we own it. That's just so insane. The whole
Yeah.
process with this is insane. But the thing about Desiree still waiting for her verification through DNI. But the Washington Post wrote it was the morning of her ascension when the poem came out because it uses her name in the poem. So they were convinced that she was now going to go on as Elvis's daughter, secret daughter, the rest of her life. Washington Post, one of the
Yeah.
most respected newspapers in the country, or used to be before it went off wacko. But uh, there you go. The morning of her ascension. That's some good writing from the Post.
Yeah.
So
Well, I think
Desiree,
that,
you've already ascended.
it's funny though. The thing is, all of those articles from 1987, there were people that believed it back then, and there were naysayers back then too. It's the same today. I think
Yeah.
if you look at some of these other videos that have been out there about it, there's more naysayers than there are on Rare Opus photos. And I think part of that is all the research. Now, we talked about this, and I'm going to read a few things too that, and maybe even reread a few things that we talked about in the past. In the book, you talked about Lucy's sister talking about Elvis mowing her grass. Okay. Now, before we brought up the whole idea that the summer after his freshman year, Vernon bought Elvis a push mower, which Elvis used for money making. He and his friends mowed for $4 an hour, any lawn in the neighborhood. So it wasn't $4 a lawn; it was $4 an hour. So he and his friends, they probably split it. They got $4 or whatever like that for a couple lawns. That's a buck each, which is money in their
It
pocket.
was
So,
good money back then.
yep,
More than I got in the 60s. I only
yep.
got 50 cents.
So that is definitely true. And then everybody's talking about Elvis didn't sing before Bill Black played his bass, and gosh, what's his name? Scotty Moore played guitar for him. He didn't play by himself. But there are stories that are out there and people that talk about 1953. One night during the summer of 1953, Elvis sat in the back of the Flamingo. It's a Beale Street nightclub. A young black piano player, Billy the Kid Emerson, approached him. They spent some time talking about the local music scene. They became friends, and then also he stopped into a Meteor recording studio on 1794 Chelsea Avenue in the summer of 53 for a private recording that was being done. Elvis Presley was trying to get a deal. He was trying to sit in with talent. He sat in with people on Beale Street, and for whatever reason, it doesn't fit the narrative that, and I know why. People like to think that somebody just hit it like that. They made a record for their mama, and then they were discovered. We know that story is not completely right because he made a record for his mama in 53 while he was trying to get recognized. But the naysayers say there's no way the story about Lucy sitting in a club, um, a club that was a country western club in a sense at the time, and he sat in and played guitar. There's no way that happened in 53 because there's no records of it. First off, there doesn't need to be records of it for it to have happened. It just has to be caused. Would it be caused? It'd be. But anyways, he was a singer. He played guitar. He wandered around his high school with his guitar. He played in Lauderdale courts, played songs in the hallways for the girls. He played in his house.
Yep.
To deny the possibility that Elvis Presley, before he became a famous person almost immediately, in a sense, that he wouldn't have tried to go sit in for free, which is what every artist ever has done. and to mimic other people like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, to claim that that's impossible and that's what the naysayers want to hang on. First off, I say it's a lack of common sense or a
Yeah.
lack of understanding of what music and musicians like me and Elvis were. You had to sing for somebody. You had to. That's who Elvis was. He had to perform. And so he would have started performing. He did it in 51, 52, 53. He played for his mom, his friends. Then he sat in with a band, auditioned with a band in 53, got turned down. You know,
Played
that's
on flat. He played on flatbed trucks and strip mall parking lots. He did all that. You know, what you're saying is every Sunday night I go to open mic nights. I'm sure
mm-hmm.
you know about that in nightclubs,
Yep.
where all these really talented singers at this one place that has record company connections and managers. So I go and I watch all like the Star Search and American Idol locally. Every Sunday I go watch all these great performers play for free and get up and do their thing and hope to be discovered. So he was doing all that.
He was. Yeah, and there's another story, and the reason why I'm putting this in here is because people love watching you, Dary, and we cover a lot of things that I sometimes cover in videos, and sometimes I just have not gotten to. Here's another thing. In 1953, he performed at the Club Handy. Club Handy was located at the building of the Pantazzi drugstore in the corner of Bill Street and Hernando Street. Okay, so there's people that remember him sitting in and being almost like a black guy, but not quite. He was white, but he sang a lot like Authentically.
Right.
And so, once again, it's another thing where they're shooting down black people that are talking about Elvis, acting like almost like they're lying, because that's what society has done a lot of times to African Americans back in the day. Bunch of liars, bunch of lazy people, bunch of thieves, sort of a thing. So the fact that this has not been put into Elvis's story, basically is saying that these people are lying. And we.
Well, glad I'm not the only one getting banged on. I guess they bang on everybody, some of those people, but it's amazing that I had the own answers in my own writing and in one of the other books. There's so many editions of Are You Lonesome Tonight? I mean, Russia probably printed 1 million copies all over their territories and all that. Someone sent me one in the mail, and there's a Russian language copy of Are You Lonesome? I'm sure China also bootlegged it. So, and I can't complain because I grew up overseas where Taiwan was bootlegging all the albums.
Yeah,
Everybody, they were like
I have a
10.
bunch of those. I have a bunch
Yeah,
of those Taiwan bootleg albums talking, and they're down there in my record. I guess I can pull this off real quick, but as you can see over here, there's a lot of records in
yeah.
these cubicles, and I have a bunch of Johnny Cash. I don't have any Elvis Taiwan
How'd you
bootlegs.
get them?
I buy stuff online all the
Oh,
time.
you get
I'm
them?
always looking for stuff to buy.
Yeah, well, my high school, because we traveled, stopped off in Taiwan on the way to the Philippines. We had them. Are they real flimsy?
That
Some
the
of the
records.
vinyl is very flimsy.
The records are, for the most part, they're not as thick, but they sound almost as good. It's
Yeah,
the album covers are almost paper,
yeah.
so that's
And
the cheap
and
part of
it,
it.
and the vinyl is very flimsy. We had a lot of that in my high school. Everybody, and they cost like 15 cents. You can
Yes,
get Led Zeppelin, and this is Elvis in Las Vegas, and all
I
the albums.
I sold one for $165 about a month and a half ago.
Ah,
It was a
on
it was a
who was it?
it was either let me see here. Don't worry about me. What was his
Oh, it
name?
was Elvis.
No. It sounds like Elvis, but gosh, I'll think of it. But a country artist. It was a country
Oh,
artist. Um, I'm going to continue here because this continues to innocence prove to the naysayers a couple different things. The club setting where Elvis came off the stage and talked to Lucy and Lucy's sister, singing there, that it's true, or it could be true, and also that he performed on a flatbed truck down in Louisiana in 53. This is in 53 or very, very early 54 before he had a band. It says here, there was much whispering between the two guys. This is Elvis Presley. And it says, come up here, boy. Elvis smiled and waved. The crowd responded with thunderous applause and laughter. Thank you very much, Elvis said. Let's sing some blues here. You know Sleepy John Estes? Milk Cow Blues Boogie. And then he sits in with a band. But this is what he did in 53 through early 54 before he got with Scotty and Bill. It was not an instant thing. Even Sam Phillips, the club that Elvis is singing at in your book, Sam Phillips called the guy that ran it and said, I want to have a kid come down there and sit in with your band or sing solo. That's in, I think, Jerry Hopkins' biography. So before Scotty and Bill, Elvis was singing with a guitar or sitting in with bands. So that goes a long way towards proving that this isn't just baloney that was written in there or made up. And people, if they can't see it on Google themselves or type it or find it, they don't want to believe it.
And is it any shock that after he sang, Elvis came down to talk to the two most beautiful women sitting in the crowd looking up at him at that time in a casual club like that? He's looking at Lucy at 16, who was gorgeous. I mean, two French women. And Mary, her sister, was also gorgeous. So, of course, Elvis is going to come down. How'd you like my song? And that's, that's how they met when they were teenagers. It was all normal. I mean, Mary lived a block away, I saw in the person who did the research.
Sandy Kirkendall, I think I forwarded you some of those emails, so you should have seen some of those emails already, right?
So, of course, the guy on who says, I'm a singer, I'm performing, Mary's going to go and invite her sister. You got to see this new kid. He's sensational. I do the same thing here in Arizona. When I see a great singer on open mic night, I bring all my friends and tell them about him. And I bring a lot of women I know who scream and hug the new performer. So that's all normal. And it happened. 100% it happened. You see the connection now. How did it not happen? I want the naysayers to say, how is Elvis Presley mowing your lawn and says he's got a show coming up at the local bar, and how do you not go and bring your sister? I mean,
you would go. You would go because, he was just as good looking out there with his shirt off, with his hair hanging down, pushing a lawnmower than he was on stage. He was just as good looking.
You've seen that in 100 movies. You've seen that in going back to Julio Iglesias, who Desiree traveled with. Enrique was in 2.5 Men with his shirt off, building Charlie's balcony. The ocean kind of decayed the wood. So he was the guy hired, and all the women in the show were lusting after Enrique Iglesias on 2.5 Men. Same thing. And Elvis was mowing the lawn. So they met, and the rest is history. The naysayers have kind of faded away since we've been doing these shows. I mean, in the last one I read, there was only that one guy still harping about the document examiner. He was the only one in the whole almost 200 comments.
And he's on my other channel, Elvis and the Legends, one of my other channels, because I've been loading the interviews with Lucy and Desiree over on that channel. And I don't know, you probably don't know that, but I've been loading the interviews over there. Wow. I'm gonna read the poem today on the other channel as well, because just in case Elvis Presley Enterprises comes after me, I want them to shut that channel down instead of this channel.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I gotta be smart about it.
I doubt they're going to come after you now. I mean,
but I tell you what, you saying that at the top of the poem, for thine eyes only, changes a lot of things. That first off, I wasn't thinking about that. I think that's lumped in with the poem in a sense. It doesn't really specify that was written at the top of the poem.
It's not even part of the poem.
That's what I'm saying. It's a note.
It says exactly, seen only by the eyes of my love, you're my life. That's what it's written at the top of the poem. And then it goes, and it's a very, very pretty poem, And I said it was at the time in the preface, I said it was used all over. The Presley estate couldn't shut it down from the news shows and the newspapers, and people have found it online too.
So I'm going to go backwards here because when I read the poem, I thought, gosh, it doesn't rhyme. That didn't seem to make much sense because I was including "seen only by the eyes of my love, you're my life" as the first line. But really, the rhyme scheme is there because the poem is somewhere in time there was my love. My love was sweet and gentle and angelic. There's just one place you could have come from above. So you got love from above. There's a
Yeah.
rhyme scheme in there. Okay. Then, so and really, and I'll read it on the other channel because the thing is, it is like a song. This is not just a poem that's a bunch of random thoughts. And to add something else, two things. First off, you can see why Lucy would want to protect this poem at all costs and didn't want to include it because of the message, like you said, seen only by the eyes of my love, you're my life. Basically, that says, like you said, please don't show this to anybody.
Right.
You know, she was already secretive anyways, and she was making Elvis promise not to blow her life up, not to have the paparazzi come on her front door to her husband, to her children, to Desiree, and tell the story before she could tell Desiree, which she didn't, unfortunately, didn't have the guts to do because the thing was she knew it was going to hurt Desiree. All the time had passed. We're talking 5 years, 10 years, 15, 8. How do you untell in a sense, a lie in a sense? How do you untell a lie that spans 18 years to somebody without feeling like they're going to run away from you and be so hurt and be mad at you, which Desiree was? So she had all these dynamics that made it impossible for her, in a sense, to tell Desiree. And then all of a sudden, Elvis passes away. 6 years later, you try to drag it out of her. She takes 2 years to give her this poem. She doesn't want to have it authenticated and be out there anywhere, thinking somebody's going to steal it, somebody's going to put it out. So to me, it's more believable that way than if she would have
Of
pursued a
course.
book deal. And people, that's what the naysayers need to grab a hold of. They need to go, if this was me, if this was somebody that I treasured the most that told me a secret, let's just say some bad secret, like I killed somebody. Let's just say something like that. Not that Elvis killed, but I'm just saying it's a
Right.
secret that
Yeah.
desperately they wanted you to keep. You wanted to keep it for them. Are you going to be easy or are you going to be difficult and piss everybody off? Because, yeah.
You know what I'm thinking about why he put that at the top, seen only by the eyes of my love. Elvis was in the music industry and he probably knew that what his poem was a song and it was one of the only ones he ever wrote. And he probably knew the Colonel would try to take it and claim it, just like the Presley estate did. The Colonel was, if the Colonel got wind that Elvis wrote a song and Lucy DeBarban in Texas had it, the Colonel would probably have gone after it with the police and tried to capture it. Can you imagine the scene that would have been?
Yeah.
Because it's valuable. That's why that Grammy Award winning rock star, look at my phone ringing. Elvis is playing with us again. And that's an old dead phone that I don't even get calls on. It'll pass. But yeah, we get it, Elvis. You
So
wrote
not
it. It's your song. And you want that rock star. He wrote a beautiful, it works as a song. I didn't think it would. Ah, oh,
It's okay. I'm gonna hit stop real quick and restart to make sure this is saved real quick. So stop recording. Stop
calling
recording
me,
again.
calling me. All right, anyway, sorry for the Elvis playing with me again. I hope there's no water around here that he's going to spray me with the water again. He's having fun with this. But what were we talking about?
So you
Oh,
were
I'm
saying
saying,
something
yeah, that the,
about Parker.
yeah, that the, I was like you that when I looked at it, I didn't, when the rock star Grammy Award winning 15 nomination, Grammy and when he said he was going to do it as a song, I said, well, how's that going to work? Is
I'll tell you how he would
and
have
it
done it.
worked. It's beautiful.
I'll tell you how he would have done it, and this is very simple because I'm a songwriter. You got the
Yeah.
somewhere in time there was my love, my life, all the way to above. That's a verse. And then the chorus is, "There's no way to explain this miracle. She's a package wrapped in clouds of joy." All the way to and then the next four lines is another verse. Then you repeat the chorus, a guitar solo, repeat the chorus. You're done. I could
Yeah.
write this. I could write this song, Dary. I could write this song in under 3 minutes with a melody and record it right in my studio while we're sitting here,
You
because
could,
it is a song. It is a song. He wrote a
yeah.
song.
Well, that was his life. He sang songs his whole life. So, and you could do the country version and he
Sure.
could do the rock and roll version because he's a legendary guitarist on the level of Eddie Van
Oh yeah.
Halen and Eric Clapton and all that. And the song came out beautiful. He did it as a ballad, a soft ballad. I hope it
Maybe
sees
we
the light
should.
of day.
Maybe we should and release it at the same time so we can both get sued at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, because any
Exactly.
publicity is good publicity, right?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, so many songs they sued over, and it made the artist's career. Like Tone Loc's, what was it, Wild Thing. It's
You
just,
keep talking.
yeah,
I'm gonna fool around. I'm gonna bring a guitar with it for just a second.
yeah. Oh, now you're gonna record the song. You're gonna,
I'm gonna get sued today.
yeah. We're all getting sued again. But I don't think the Presley estate cares that much anymore. Any publicity. 50 years after Elvis died for the new generation is just money in the bank for them. If your song comes out, you know, your song comes out, the money will pour into Graceland. If you do your Elvis gave her Desiree, and if Steve, the rock star, does the poem,
Yeah, it's funny. You know,
the Presley estate and Priscilla will just be rolling in the dough again. I heard that YMCA is making millions and was topping the charts because Trump used it in his campaign. Village people are all happy. They're
yeah,
wanting to perform it. They're given their permission. They hit the top of the charts again with
yeah.
YMCA. So do it.
Let me
I
see it.
gotta I gotta talk to this.
Somewhere in time there was my love. My love was sweet, gentle, and unkill. Just one place you could come from. So you can write it. There's so many
Boy,
different
you are
melody
getting
versions.
sued.
I am getting sued right
The
now.
lawyer is on the phone right now. No, I'd go for it, man. I would have put the poem in the book, even though they said no. Let them rag on it.
What's
Like
your
I told
publisher?
you, after the book came out and they saw it, and Desiree didn't do anything, the Presley estate told me, thanked me for writing such a beautiful book and resurrecting Elvis's image after all the horrible books came out. And William Morris would fought me tooth and nail, wanted to sign me up as a client. Hollywood and the music industry, strange bedfellows, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to go back to what you're talking about. Parker would have thrown a fit. But here's the thing, and said it's a song. We want to grab a hold of it. We want to make money off of it. You can't have it. It's Elvis's. Priscilla was the same way. Joe Esposito shot home movies of Elvis on vacations. Joe Esposito came up to Priscilla in 1987, said, "I've got these movies. I want to work on a collaboration with you and put them out. It's a great side of Elvis that has nothing to do with music." The next thing you know, he's going to an Elvis event, and he gets a lawsuit handed to him of Elvis Presley Enterprises, and Priscilla's like, "There's nothing I can do." She's the one that was in charge of doing it, and
Yeah.
so she sued Joe Esposito, took all of his home videos away. The videos that we see of Elvis were Joe Esposito's, and she made all the money, all these decades off of it, and cut Joe off. And Joe said, she's brutal. Basically, she's a brutal person.
And Lucy liked Joe Esposito. He's acknowledged in the book. He's in the acknowledgments of our, because I talked to him a number of times. So, and he's in the acknowledgments. So
Yeah,
I guess
but
Lucy probably would have let him do whatever he wanted.
that's the fear Lucy had with this poem that you took and got it authenticated. and she was so upset with you about it. She thought somebody's going to steal it. What's so precious to me, like you said, my precious, would be gone. It would get destroyed somehow in the laboratory. It would be lost or stolen. And that was
Yeah.
her biggest fears. And, you know, you could see why she held on to the diary for so long, why she didn't want to release the tapes or any portion of the tapes,
Yeah.
because she was fearful.
She said a scientific verification of the poem would strip it of its soul because it meant so much to her. And oh, there was something that we were going to do in another one I forgot. Remember Good Morning America?
Yes.
You asked me about
I
that.
asked you about that. Yes.
Yeah, I was in the green room. You know what the green room is,
Yeah. I've been there
and
before.
it's where you sit. Yeah, I'm sure you've been in green rooms. I've been, for the audience, the green room is where you wait to go on the air of a TV show. The Johnny Carson show, the talk shows, they have food. It's where you wait. It's like the waiting room. And I was in there with all the verifications. There were four at the time, with the ones that I just said were in the British edition, the FBI, the U.S. Customs, all these. I had them all. I was going to show the Good Morning America anchors, and the publisher told me not to. They told me adamantly, don't show that, because they thought the poem would be seen on TV, and then all the naysayers would get their own document examiners to use it from the screen and call it a
Mm-hmm.
fraud. So they were terrified that that might happen. So they
Hmm.
wouldn't let me do it. Now, that was my first book. I was a rookie author. I'd been a journalist, the streets of Miami, every night, Scarface era. But it was my first book, big New York publishers, and it just tore me up. I remember the producer coming in, do you have anything to show? And I'm looking at this big pile of document examiners, and I had to say no. I felt the publisher really, if I had had any more experience in the industry, I'd have given it, because I went
Mm-hmm.
to Charles Hamilton on my own. They didn't want me to go to him. People magazine called him the dreaded death of forgeries, that he would destroy everybody. They called him the death of forgerers,
Hmm.
Charles Hamlin. They didn't want me to go to him, but I went to him. Finally, I said I had enough of the publisher, being all scared and blocking. So Good Morning America, I wasn't able to give him, and Lucy had to flounder again, wondering why I couldn't give it.
So I asked you that because I couldn't find it online anywhere. I can't find a video of it. So you went with Lucy. Were you on air as well?
No, I was just in
So
the green room
so
with her.
just Lucy and Desiree on that.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't in that one. I was in others, but not that one. I mean, I
So
I, I remember it to this day. She asked me, and I'm looking at the stack. It was like this thick of all the, like the guy in Texas said he worked 60 hours and he did 15, 20 pages. And Charles Hamilton, even though he knew it instantly and said, I didn't even need to do, Charles Hamilton said, I didn't even need to do all that crazy work. The amateurs or the lower, he was kind of had a pride in his being the king of document exam. He said, I didn't need to do all that, but I did it anyway. I went through the motions, but he knew it was Elvis's because he had done it before. He had exposed many before. And he thought, oh boy, here's another fake Elvis. And then boom, right out of the FedEx package, he said, this is Elvis. So that's interesting.
so I'm going to bring something up that just kind of research on my own that I've seen. And first off, I had a conversation with Billy Stanley. Um, and you were kind of
He's
like,
gonna diss it, right? He's
now,
gonna diss
well,
it.
here's the deal. So I had a conversation with Billy Stanley. And we talked for half an hour before we did taping. And we talked about the Lucy Desiree story a little bit with him. And yes, he's kind of a non-believer, but I shared a lot of details with him because I think, once again, I'm going to send him the book and I'm going to make him read the book, just so you know. So Billy and I, we had a good hour and a half conversation, stopped taping, and we talked for another hour and a half. Like, we didn't
Ah,
stop talking. He's going to come on every week. I'll tell you, one of the things that I gleaned from my research of Billy, and something from his book, I believe, or one of his past books, Elvis, of course, he wrote stuff in the Bible. We all know that. He would always write stuff. Well, he misspelled things. Now, my question in my mind, I'm not Charles Hamilton. I'm not these document examiners. I know Elvis is a very smart person, but at the same time, it's not like he went to college. It's not like he paid attention in school all the time. He was probably prone to misspell some stuff, and he did. He misspelled one mountain. He spelled it Montan or Tan. He left a U out of it.
Miracle too.
Yeah, yeah, and and there's things that Elvis did
It's a
on
hard
purpose.
word.
Yeah, there's things that Elvis did on purpose that Hamilton talked about. He would take two words and he would separate them, and it would have two different meanings sometimes, and then he would misspell them to make the meanings. In
Right.
a sense, add a letter, take a letter away. That's one of the things Elvis enjoyed doing. But for anybody that believes that the poem could not be authentic because of misspellings, is once again, you can't, unless Elvis Presley was an English major that had a bunch of literary works that everything was perfect. I'm a very smart guy. IQ around 140, 135, 136. So spelling bee champion. I still, with some words, I go, wait a second, I don't think I spelled it right. I go back and then I fix it. Elvis wouldn't have cared about none of that stuff. He wasn't trying to be pretentious and be right with everything. So the fact that there's misspellings matches the fact that Elvis did misspell stuff on accident and
Or on
also
purpose.
or on purpose sometimes. But for these ones, I'm looking at the misspellings. They're not going to be on purpose, I don't think. But it doesn't mean that Elvis is dumb. But I could see that Lucy wouldn't want to think that people would think that Elvis is dumb because he can't spell miracle, which is not an easy word to spell, like you said. Wrapped, you can see how you leave a P out of it, you know,
What is the word?
like wrapped in clouds of joy, WRAPPED, just left a P out of it.
Oh, he
But
left a P out. Yeah.
for the most part, there's just only a couple little things in there that's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, but it would be a big deal for her to try to protect Elvis because
It
people
was a
want to be
big
negative.
it was a big deal for Charles Hamilton because he had seen those same misspellings in other examples of Elvis's writing. So that was a big deal for him.
Yeah,
You know, same. Hey, I'm a best-selling author, 20 books. I misspell words all the time.
yeah.
English language taken from so many other languages, French and Latin, and some of the words are really hard. Like miracle has, oh, I get tripped up on that.
Yeah,
Sometimes
because
don't.
you think MIRI or
Occasion.
MIRA, you know?
I
Yeah.
haven't spelled occasion right in 50 years. I don't know how many C's, how many S's are in the word. Is it two C's? Is it
I
two
think it's
S?
OCCASION. But that being said, I get it because
You're a good speller. So you told me I'm a worse one. It's encouraging for
I could
those
be
out
wrong.
there. I was told in college I could never be a journalist or author because of my bad spelling, but I overcame it. And then spell check saved me, the dawn
Oh
of the
yeah,
internet. I used to have copy editors, girlfriends who were copy editors. What is that?
OCCASION. I was right. Good. Okay.
See, that one trips me up all the time, all the time. And as I get older, I'm going back to misspelling words all the time, you know. And I dread putting a misspelling in one of the comments. So the naysayers, you know, you're an
Oh
author and you misspelled miracle in that comment. What's the matter with you? So, so
man,
Elvis,
I can't see you getting
what were
bothered
the
by that,
three
but I get
words?
it.
Do you know all three? It's wrapped, miracle. It's funny, I remember miracle. What is the third one?
Let's see, miracle rap, um, and then angelic.
He misspelled angelic?
The G, he put a J.
Ah, that's a
That's all.
common mistake.
Yeah, because I mean, it sounds out right, angelic, and if you don't write the word all the time, you're not thinking about how to spell it.
I've
It's
done that. I put the J in that word. See, that's what Charles Hamilton knew, that he puts the J in angelic. And I'm sure he's called a lot of women angelic. So it's a J.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make things I'm gonna lighten things up a teeny bit. You know, our wonderful resident researcher. I asked you to research some stuff on my father. You know, who my sister believes is a Zodiac killer, and who my wife thinks, oh, maybe he could be. But this is a hilarious. This is from the Register, January 17th, 1958. Driver lost wager. CHP interferes. A foolish bet and playing hide and seek brought about interference by the California Highway Patrol last night and a pair of citations for two Orange County residents. Philip Maurice Sins, 26, of 12841 Huckleberry Road, Garden Grove, received a citation for reckless driving after he ran a stop sign at Verano Street and Westminster Avenue past the CHP officer. He then made an improper, unsafe lane change at Cannery Street and was doing more than 80 miles per hour in a 40-mile-an-hour zone. Sims told the officer he had a bet going on with his friend, who was also in the vehicle, that he could do 90 miles an hour. The speedometer only read 79, Sims said, and asked the officer, do me a favor. Tell my friend I was doing 90 miles an hour according to your speedometer so I can win the bet. The officer quoted him. Later, Sims said he was sorry he drove the way he did. It was a foolish thing to do.
Wow.
So she found that about my dad.
Did he tell the officer, oh, and I'm also the Zodiac Killer?
The Zodiac Killer didn't exist back then. That's
Yeah,
1958.
that was before. Hey, you know, that brings up something about you, because you recently told me you weren't sure your audience wanted to do the serial killers and the Charles Manson's book next. And then I forgot that you got that personal history with your father as a serial killer. So there's a connection there. Is that your reticence, or you're going to do a serial killer channel?
No,
That would be a good channel. You know, there are a lot of people who follows. There's web pages on serial killers.
This
And
this
those
is good
people
you're
are
bringing
like
this up, because
Those-
you're an author. You've written books about serial killers. You wrote about Charles
Yeah.
Manson and the family. You wrote about Childlike. I have several other channels, and everybody only knows about one, which is Elvis and the Legends. But I have other channels, and that I want to read some of your books on. And
Yeah.
the non-Elvis fans that only want to hear about serial killers and don't want to hear about Elvis, they're going to subscribe to that channel. Folks from Rare Elvis Photos are going to go over there and have our conversations with Dary Matera on those too. But there's certain things that this is a niche, they say. YouTube, what they like to do is destroy channels that do too many things. But if you focus on one thing,
Right.
you're good. So I can't do that to this channel. Plus, I want to make sure that everybody here that's an Elvis fan, most people love hearing your stories. But also, this is an Are You Lonesome Tonight story about Elvis. So I am certain that people are going to love your other books, and so am I, because I love your writing style.
I think Charles Manson was an Elvis fan too. You know, he was a musician, and he recorded. He's sung.
He was.
Have you ever heard any of his songs?
I have. I
He's
actually
not
have them
bad.
on my computer. They're not bad, but they're not great. But he was with Dennis Wilson. He was living in Dennis
Yeah.
Wilson's house, the Beach
Trying
Boys.
to be. He sounds like Chris Christopherson, almost the same voice. Charles Manson.
Yeah.
It's Chris, and it was
Just
the
singing
same
about a little
era.
crazier stuff. But yeah, he was talented. He had some talent, certainly.
Yeah. So there's a symbiotic relationship there with Manson being a fan, and he was really into the Beatles, but he thought the Beatles were sending him signals. The White Album, there were some angry Beatles songs in the White Album.
Helter Skelter. Helter
Yeah.
Skelter is the one. Yeah.
Name of the book, and then the Taxman. They were so angry. Little Piggies. There's a song, All the Little Piggies. That's why they wrote piggies on the wall in people's blood from the Beatles. And he was a 50s guy, Elvis. I mean, Manson. If you look at early pictures, he's trying to have Elvis's hairdo. So there's kind of a connection there. But so much intertwining, isn't it? Isn't that something? And a connection with you personally?
Yeah.
And quitting the mob. Michael Franzese was in the music business. The head of Sony Music, who married Mariah Carey, Tommy Mottola, was started out as one of Michael's soldiers and a connection from New York. Tommy Mottola was a Catholic, and he rose all the way to the head of Sony Music. and his connection with Mariah Carey. So there's music connections there and quitting the mob. And he did the Bobby Brown boy band. Remember the boy band Bobby Brown was in?
Kind of.
Bobby
Yeah.
Brown married Mariah Carey and supposedly got her
Well,
hooked on.
Whitney Houston. It wasn't Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, and Whitney
Yes,
Houston introduced.
Tommy
Yeah,
Mottola married Mariah Carey,
yeah.
and Bobby Brown married Whitney Houston, and they say he got her hooked on drugs, and he's still alive and kicking all these years and performing.
And
You
she's
know,
not. And of course, Whitney's mother sang with Elvis. She was with Elvis in live shows for about maybe 6 months, maybe nine
yeah.
months.
Yes,
Uh,
there's so much connection, interconnection. So Michael Franzese had investment in Bobby Brown's boy band and Norby Walters and sports and all that. So that's all. I don't know if we mentioned if he had any Elvis connections. Sure, he was a fan, same era.
hmm. Yeah, you
But
either loved Elvis or hated Elvis. There was no in between. I think, from what I've
hardly
wasn't between
anybody
out.
hated Elvis.
No, but there were
People,
people that did because they thought, they wanted Elvis to be this and he wasn't. I'm not saying hated, but there people hate, people dislike in a sense.
I know.
And it used to be you're either an Elvis fan or a Beatles fan. My music teacher, Mr. Kirchhoff, I love Mr. Kirchhoff. He's one of the big reasons I was in music and learned to be a great trumpet player and piano player was because of him. But he was a huge Beatles fan, and I was a huge Elvis fan, and we'd always argue who was better. The Beatles were songwriters. Elvis was a great vocalist. The Beatles
Yeah.
changed music. Elvis changed music, and we would go back and forth on the bus to these band trips and stuff, talking
Yeah.
about it. And finally, he's actually gotten some respect. He built a respect up for Elvis. And of course, me, I've become a much bigger Beatles fan, and understandably, like Paul McCartney, what a phenomenal songwriter Paul McCartney is. And continues to be.
Yeah. No, going back to this serial killer thing, there are a web page about Manson and Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer, and they do the same thing to me in my books. They got the naysayers there who say I'm wrong. I quote the guy directly, Ed Kemper, and then he's actually got fans. Serial killers have fans,
Yeah.
the type of women who write prisoners. Charles Manson got more mail than any prisoner in history of the US prison system. And these people are the naysayers are there too, criticizing my book. Same as they doing about Elvis. There's always that breed of people that just want to criticize. And how do you criticize a book about a serial killer? And I remember another funny story. The lawyers at the publishers, people who think I walked in with this Elvis book and they gave me all this money with no proof. And then the lawyers vet the book. And I remember a lawyer saying I was slandering Charles Manson by saying, I said, how do you slander Charles Manson? He's the most notorious evil person in the world. How the heck am I liable? How am I ruining his good image by quoting him? It's being in one of his rants. I mean, it was crazy what you go through in the publishing. Just like you in that beautiful song you wrote. That song should see the light of day. It should be #1 on the country charts today. But you're reticent at even
Yeah.
sending me a copy. You still haven't even sent me a copy.
And
You're
it's not
scared to
just that.
send me a copy.
It truly takes money. It takes an investor, and I'm not joking about this price. Back when my wife and I were in the industry in 2013 and 2014, and we were touring, and I was paying for my record promotion. Me,
Wow. Well,
hundred.
when you have a super great song, doesn't it
So
conquer all?
no, no, it doesn't.
Wow.
Now I know that society would like back in the old days, it kind of did, but at the same time, money always greased the wheels. But now, in the last 25, 30 years, in 2013, in order to get a song to #1, it took about an average of $850,000. Now that's record promoters you had to hire, and I'm telling industry secrets, but you'd have one record promoter for 35,000 a month. You'd have a second one for 35,000 a month. Songs take about 6 months to get up the charts. So you're talking $70,000 for 6 months. That's 420. Then you send program directors on. You take them on yacht cruises with their families, and you play shows for them. It's a lot of money. And Reba got busted for payola in 2014 or 2015 after we quit the music industry, and because she got paying much so many money. But it takes money. And now here's why it makes sense for an investor to put $850,000, because back in 2013, a number one hit song was worth $1.3 million if it was there for 1 week on the charts at number one. 1.3 million. The longer it stayed on the charts, the more money you would make. So if you put $1 million into a song and it stays there for 3 weeks at number one, the return is about $1.8 million. So you get your money back and you split the rest of the money with the artists or the publishers. So it's a business, and it's been a business forever, and it's the ugly side of it, but it's because record labels, they lost so much money giving advances to country artists or rock and roll artists that would just do coke and blow all their money and not provide, and they just weren't good. So they stopped, and now you have to bring in your money, and then you use their label and distribution, and they're guaranteed money, and each time the labels will never lose money ever again. They stopped doing that in the early 2000s.
But then again, didn't Justin Bieber start with his mother putting his YouTube videos on of him just singing? That's how Justin Bieber started, with no money.
But
Why don't you do that song and sing it and put it on YouTube?
So we're talking, what, 15 years ago, almost 20 years ago, Justin Bieber. That's when the industry paid money.
His mother just did
I know that. I know
on
that.
her phone or something.
So here's the difference.
$1 billion. He became the biggest.
But he didn't. The thing is, investors came in. P. Diddy, who's in prison right now, put his drug money into Justin Bieber. That's what happened.
Seeing the video, seeing his videos that his mom.
20 years
still
ago,
doing that.
No. Watch this. 20 years ago, let's just say there was 500 artists on YouTube or 1,000 artists. Today, there's 4.5 million new songs put on YouTube every day. It's so washed out, and YouTube is the one that decides whether to push it up or not the fans. YouTube does.
And they're still trying.
They're trying.
Musicians are still putting their videos and hoping, and every once in a while, someone falls through the cracks.
Sometimes, yeah.
It becomes, I have a friend who loves Queen Herbie. I don't know if you ever heard of her. Some rapper put her video on, and she got huge, and now she's touring just from doing a little video.
And the people that are going to make it off of YouTube are hot young girls or hot young boys. And that's always the way it's been, in a sense. If you think about it, they're young people that can be, in a sense, used by the industry and used by the people that get them there. That's just what happens 95% of the time. Carrie Underwood.
I've got who else can make it? A great country singer who has a killer song about Elvis Presley and Desiree.
Elvis gave her Desiree, yes.
You put that on and it'll go.
I like it. And once again, I am going to put it out there, but I'm going to give you another story.
I've seen your wine song, and that's brilliant. That's been out there.
My money.
Yeah. You had to rent the car.
I can't
believe that wasn't your car.
1.2. I had 1.2 million plays of that song. You know how much money I made? Under $100 on that song for 1.2 million, because it wasn't played in the hour-long syndicated that gets paid on country radio. If it's anywhere else besides an hour to hour and a half and played anywhere down here in the 20, you get nothing.
That'll be your second hit on the Elvis Gave Her Desiree album, because that's a brilliant song. That should be a hit, and it's a great video. Very moving video, and it's a great, you got to give the name of it for the audience. I can't name the wine. I couldn't spell that wine. Speaking of spelling, what the heck is the name of the song?
Muscadine.
Muscadine. Yeah, I couldn't spell that. Beautiful song for the audience. You should do his video.
I appreciate it.
Watch for the bracelet of his beautiful wife as she reaches for her.
I saw that. I saw the part you're talking about. She's reaching for the glass of wine, and it dangles down her wrist. Yeah.
It dangles down. It's a beautiful song too.
Well, I'm going to tell you a story here real quick.
So
I gotta
do
tell.
the Elvis gave her Desiree, put it on YouTube and throw caution to the wind, see what happens. Some record producer could see it and fly you out. How do you think I
I'm
made it?
still waiting. I'm still waiting for the copyright form to come back. I've got them on my refrigerator for a lot of other songs. That one has not come back yet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Once again, and it should have come back, but it's not back yet. It should have came
You
back two
know,
weeks ago.
the rock star that I talked to for over an hour, he didn't mention, I guess he's been in the business so long, he didn't mention investors or having to do anything.
Yeah,
He wanted,
once you're in the business, he played guitar for David Lee Roth. So
yeah,
he wasn't his own artist until he made enough money probably to put his own stuff out. And once you have enough
yeah,
success, guess what you're going to run into? People that want to do partnerships with you, sponsor you.
right.
So, and they also want to, like, if there's a rich person out there that wants to hang out with me and and Carrie Underwood, if you got
Yeah,
some money, I've got the connections. I have the connections to be on major label
yeah,
radio. I've had them. I'm Dolly Parton's producer. Dolly Parton, her
uh,
producer Kent Wells. He's the one that cut our records for free. He didn't charge us. He cut them for free because he believes in us. But he's hoping we could use our records to find an investor to be able to put it out on
right.
major radio.
I guess this rock star already has a record deal with a major company, so
Well,
he just
nowadays anybody can push it out. Distribution it's not expensive to push it out. It's just it'll get lost in all the noise unless you are somebody
yeah,
already. Now, Steve, I can't say his name, but I've already said it before. Steve Vai is somebody.
yeah.
He's been somebody. He still is somebody. My
He's
wife and I,
got
we have
three
a family.
Grammys and 13 nominations. He's a guitar virtuoso. That's why he did this ballad and sang.
Hmm.
He's known for being the Slash and the Eddie Van Halen of the guitar world. So, and then he did a beautiful ballad and he sang it beautiful. But I guess he's got the record deal and he's still being held up for
Yeah.
all his Grammys and respect and all he's had. But you have the Elvis gave her Desiree has all this controversy and power behind it. It's not just you got a great song. You got me, you got your this page, you got your all your fans on this page. You can be the next Bieber. You're the next country Bieber.
I appreciate that. Here's what's going to happen. Desiree's going to find DNA, and it's going to be a bigger story. I have full faith. I've said if a lot of times. Okay.
Yeah, don't wait. Don't
We're
give
to the point.
excuses. Just do it.
I
That's what the rock star told me. We were waiting for the movie to come out.
Yeah.
Then he was gonna do it. And you wait, and then life passes you by.
Well,
Just do it.
I'm just saying in general about Are You Lonesome Tonight? How you said you had a bone to pick with me because I said if it's true, if this,
Yeah.
if that. I always tell everybody on my channel, you guys make your mind up for yourselves. That's what the if is for. On my side, I believe in my mind that Desiree is Elvis's daughter. I believe that Lucy had a love affair with Elvis because the definitions of the relationship, even with the poem, were at the very top. This sounds to me like Elvis, not because of the words, seen only by the eyes of my love. Elvis, in a sense, was, if you study all of his relationships, Elvis was pretty possessive. He was a pretty insecure guy. A lot of the women said that they didn't like Elvis, didn't like them looking at other people. They always had to be ready and available for Elvis. Lucy was always there for Elvis, usually when picking up the phone call. And not just that, in the very beginning of the relationship, she was basically his first love in 1953, before Dixie Locke, before Barbara Hearn, before June Winico. This predates those relationships. And so just the fact that he would have written seen only by the eyes of my love, he's telling her, hey, I'm putting my faith and trust in you. Don't show this to anybody.
And again, you said that you're waiting for the DNA and all that, and everybody's harping on that. 1987, August 9th, the Washington Post, probably I think front page story. They wrote The Morning of Desiree's
I know.
Ascension
I
as
know.
Elvis Presley's daughter.
Hey,
They
I'm not waiting.
certified her already.
I'm
So
not
that
waiting.
song you have, you're sitting on a gold mine, a gold mine.
I got you. I like it.
The morning of her ascent, and they didn't talk about DNA in 1980. There wasn't a word about DNA in the Washington Post stories. They saw the poem in Charles Hamilton, who they knew Charles Hamilton. The media had gone to them as the expert. So when he certified it, Desiree was now 100% Elvis Presley's daughter in 1987. So make
So I'm not waiting for that stuff. What I'm saying is that there's a timing thing sometimes too, Derry. There's a timing thing.
that's what the rock star said. The
There, but
movie came and
you gotta
gone.
remember that he's probably right about it too. There is a timing aspect of it.
Well,
Now I could put it out. The problem is that I haven't got the copyright back yet. I could get a. I'm not going to get a cease and desist from Elvis Presley Enterprises. You can use the name Elvis in a song. You just can't use a likeness. I've already, but I'm waiting until I get all my ducks in a
yeah,
row with
I
that
don't
part
want
of
to
it.
pressure you. And you know
No,
what
I like
else
it.
will
I
happen?
appreciate you.
You know what'll happen when you put it out? Some big country singer's going to contact you, and he's going to, or he or she's going to want to do it, right?
Good, good.
Isn't
Because
that
I'll
what
tell you why.
happens?
I'll tell you why,
You'll be
Derry.
contacted the next day by Garth Brooks or somebody, and they're going to say, "I want that song," and they're going to
I
make a deal.
and
Would
and
you
and
hold out? What
I
would you do if that happened?
I would let them do it, and I'll tell you why. Because
You wouldn't be
music,
Rocky,
when
Sylvester Stallone. Every they wanted to cast all kind of people in Rocky, and he stood firm and wouldn't let them. And tried to pay him all this money, and he turned them down. And he made Rocky, and he became famous.
so I'll tell you
But
what
you
I
would
value
let him if
more.
Garth Brooks calls you tomorrow, or Clint Black. Is Clint Black still alive? I thought he was.
He is, but he's not doing much. You
Yeah,
know,
I heard he's sick or something. I'm trying to think of country stars.
he'd have to be Blake Shelton.
Yeah,
Blake
they'll
Shelton would be
all
one,
contact you. You'll
or
get
Luke Bryan.
your phone will be ringing off. All those guys will be on the phone the moment they hear that song. They're going to be on the phone offering you big money. But maybe you should stand firm. I don't know what
Well,
you would.
here's the deal. Here's what I don't want anymore in my life. I value my family, the time I get with them, and not missing out on that. That's what big stars miss out, and they truly miss out on all the little things. They miss out on the time, the privacy. I'm always thankful that I didn't become a big star. I really am, because my life, I can't imagine my life being any better than with my beautiful wife, my wonderful boys. And I still get to do what I love. I can still play music when I want. I've got this channel. I've got people that love Elvis. I'm talking with you. I had an interview with Mike Stone. That was controversial.
Well,
Mike
give it to
Stone.
Garth Brooks then, or
Yeah, Garth
Blake.
Brooks
Who's your favorite right now?
well, I'm not.
Who's your
Blake.
favorite country star?
They're old now.
Well, that's okay. Are they still performing?
Well, yeah, Clint Black is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Craig Campbell's a buddy of mine. He's not a big star, but he's
Who's the
talented. He's
guy who
gonna
has
do
a lot of bars? Who's the guy who has a lot of bars? I love this bar.
Well, you've got
Who
no, that was
sings?
he died.
I,
He
I
died.
love this. He's dead.
Toby
There's
Keith
a
is dead.
guy who has bars right here in Phoenix with
Luke
a funny
Bryan.
name. What?
Luke Bryan.
No, starts with a V. He's got bars around the country. I don't know the country singers that much, but
I don't either. But
hey, give it to Steve. He'll do it if he ever gets through.
I don't even. Can Steve sing? He must be able to sing.
He did a beautiful job with I have the song. He sent it to me. He wasn't afraid. He sent it to me. The poem. He sings the poem.
Huh.
And it was supposed to come out years ago. I don't
You
know.
better look out, Dary. You're gonna now that everybody knows you have it. You're gonna have
Yeah,
Black Panthers on your lawn. What was that?
yeah,
Ross Perot said the Black Panthers were after him.
yeah. Well, you send me yours.
Yeah, everybody's gonna. Yeah.
You
Well,
and him could make the album together. He played the guitar, you sing. You could probably sing the poem, the country version, like I said. Boy, and you'll be the next Bieber. I do it. What the heck?
I'm
What do you wait?
I'm
I know
looking at
you're
the
talking about your life. So you're worried about being swept up in Hollywood, having to fight off Jennifer Lopez and Selena Gomez are going to all
I,
want you.
I've had enough taste of those things being with Cheryl Crow. You know,
Yeah,
Cheryl Crow wanting me to be your boyfriend. You know, I've been around major stars. I mean, I've been popular enough where when people talk about Elvis bringing 8 to 10 girls home, I've done that. I've had lots of girls want to be around me for years at a time when I was younger.
is your
You know,
wife watching this video?
she knows all this. She knows every single
She
bit
don't want to
aspect.
hear it again, I'm
No,
sure.
but that's why I said I wouldn't trade anything in my life right now to be a
Yeah.
star.
All right.
You know, the money would be nice. It'd be some security there, but
Let
at the
someone
same,
else sing it.
right? Yeah,
Let let your favorite. You mentioned Blake Shelton. He's on that not
yeah.
American
The
Idol,
Voice, maybe.
The Voice or something. Yeah. So give it to him. He'll sing it, you know.
Well, Blake Shelton has probably close to a
I'd
hundred
like to
thousand
see you
songs,
do it though.
but and I'd like
I
to do
would
it as well.
prefer you, but if that's the route and they come to you, they see it on YouTube, go for it. You can make a fortune just being the songwriter. A
Yeah,
lot of songs. I mean, Bruce Springsteen was giving his songs to the Hollies back in the day. Blinded by the Light was Man for Man. Bruce
right.
Springsteen wrote it. Sandy, the Hollies. What was
But
his other?
I'll tell you the difference between the path I chose, which was to be around my kids, not to abandon them to go on the road to play music, not to make music the most important thing. That's part of the reason why I didn't make it super big. That my wife
Yeah.
and I together made it B level, B minus level because of our talent and our connection with each other.
Yeah.
But if I would have chose to do the coke, and I'm gonna probably get my YouTube's probably gonna get mad at me for using that and doing that and ban this video, but or put a parental guidance on it. But if I would have chose to do all that stuff with all the top hit songwriters and people that I knew, or slept with the head of Sony back at the time, the head of A&R that wanted me to sleep with her, I would have had a
Tommy
record.
Mottola.
No.
He was the head of Sony.
In Nashville, rest in
I
peace.
bet you would have preferred Mariah Carey than Tommy
Yeah. It
Mottola.
was not. It wasn't a guy, but she's gone now. Rest in peace.
Oh,
But the thing is, I never wanted to, and it's probably wrong because I could have gotten a lot better places. I never wanted to do that kind of stuff. I just thought that the music would stand on its own, but the music never stands on its own, almost ever. There has to
yeah,
be
that's true.
people, investors, the dirty stuff, the dirty side of the business. That's all
Yeah.
there in country music. Just like it's as
Oh,
much in country as it is in rock, and sometimes even more.
well, all right. Well, whatever. Get that song out. Whatever. You're putting up so many roadblocks.
No, I love it. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that I appreciate your faith in me. I really do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's refreshing.
Well, the
And
song's
I believe
brilliant. It's a beautiful. I wouldn't say that I hear all these original songs every Sunday night in bars, and they're ho hum. But that
yeah,
one, maybe because it's my book, but it's good. And I know the media and I know publicity, and with the hook you have publicity, the resurrect. Lisa Marie died recently, so Desiree is his only living daughter right now. And it's a whole new world and a whole new audience, and she's still a mystery. She's always been a mystery. I mean, she made Lisa Marie's jaw drop. Lisa Marie's husband followed her all over Target, just felt like she was a unicorn. He's just fascinated watching her, looking her, sensing Elvis in her. He's like, oh my goodness, she reminds me of Lisa Marie. That's what he had to be thinking when he followed her around Target. So there's a tremendous hook. You're sitting on a gold mine. Do
I
it.
trust you.
You're going to get all the comments. Everybody comment. Do it, Joe. Do it, Joe. Release that song. Release that song or give it to got the best voice for that? Blake
Well,
or
that's I would say
Maybe Clint Black wants to come back. Is he
Flynn,
unhealthy? Is
Flynn
he
is too. He's too
unhealthy?
country. He's too country for that. It would have to be somebody that has some pop leanings, like Luke Bryan or
Yeah,
Blake Shelton.
crossover.
Yeah, yeah.
Crossover. Who did
But
I Love This Bar and had the bars all over?
he that was Toby Keith, but he passed
Toby
away.
Keith.
Yep.
He's passed away.
Yeah, he died of cancer this last year.
Who's married to the actress, the English
Keith
actress?
Urban. Keith Urban.
Keith Urban. They're all around. I don't know the new up and comers. Oh, who's got super famous doing videos and faked it? Remember the Tiger Man?
Oh yes,
Remember
yes,
when he became
yes,
a phenomena? And he had what it looked like a brilliant voice, and it turned out he just hired someone like you
yes.
and he lip synced. Do you remember? Did you watch Tiger
I did.
Man?
We watched the Tiger King series.
Was he a country singer too?
No, he couldn't sing, but that was what it was. It was country.
No, his backup and his
Yeah, he was
songs
a
were
country thing.
country. Yeah, he did videos. And you remember who he got?
It wasn't anybody famous. It was just some local band.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was very good.
yeah.
Whoever he got was very good, you know. And
I
he
love
put
the
the
tiger,
video
and the
up.
tiger loved me, or something. Yeah,
I
yeah.
wonder what he got for his videos and
Not
show.
much. No, Tiger
Well, he
King.
got a lot for his series with the Tigers. He was
Yeah,
the biggest thing going during even President Trump mentioned him.
Joe Exotic. It was I saw a tiger, and tiger saw me. That was the song. I sang that as a joke a couple years ago because it's kind of a good little catchy
It's a
song.
good song.
Yeah, yeah,
It was a guy. I thought he was great, and then I read where he's just lip syncing.
yeah,
But he was a good promoter. Now he's in jail.
yeah.
Trump should somebody should pardon him.
Well, he thought Trump was going to pardon him, and he did, and Trump didn't.
Yeah, I don't know why Trump should have pardoned him.
Well, it's because he did hire somebody to kill somebody, so
Yeah,
that's the reason.
yeah. Well, and now that lady took over his empire, his tiger empire. Same lady. Boy, poor guy. But it could happen anyway. It could. I made it. Just crawled up to New York and
Yeah,
flirted with agents and had the Elvis, had Are You Lonesome Tonight, convinced them it was true, and boom,
yeah.
I leapfrogged from journalism to being an author. So
Well,
people can do it. You just got to stick to it and take chances and not let the publisher tell you not to give the documents to Good Morning America. If I had given
but he,
those documents, my
yeah,
career would have soared even higher. But the
yeah. But
publisher,
you know what? You were a young man. You were what, 24, 25,
no,
26?
I was in my early 30s.
Oh, you really? Okay. So
Yeah,
did you have a family and a kid or anything? All right.
not then.
See, that's when you can do it, Dary. That's really when you can do it. When you're single. Any of this stuff now you could still write books and be a family man,
Well,
but to be an
hey,
artist,
what I was
it
going to tell you is rent an RV like Paul McCartney did, put the family and go on the road. Paul
money,
McCartney,
buddy.
an
Money.
RV, get an
Money.
old RV. You
No,
can
no,
buy old
not in my
RVs.
family. No, 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 no. My
No
family would
old.
not. They would not allow an old RV. When we go on vacation, it's $1,000 a night where we stay.
Oh, well, why'd
Not
you
my
teach him to
wife's
be
gonna be
that
mad for
way?
me saying that, but she wants to go to really nice places. She doesn't like any potential bugs, nothing. She doesn't want to rough it.
Ah,
She's beautiful, but she has $1 million taste like I do. I have $1 million taste, but I
or
can.
that champagne taste on a beer budget, or
Yes, there it is. Yeah.
wow, that's a
So,
famous quote. Hey, I had a friend who bought an RV for 3 grand, 1970s RV. I
mm,
piled all my crazy jogging club friends in it, had all gallons of margaritas. We went to Mexico and had one of the greatest weekends of our lives. We did it twice. The RV, the party RV. And he didn't care if people trashed it and got
no, yeah,
wasted. It was a $3,000 RV, and he was a mechanic. So if anything happened, he'd fix it. And off we went to Rocky Point, Mexico for the greatest weekend of our lives on the beach, parked on the beach and partied our brains out.
Living in the moment right there, huh?
Yeah. You said you slept in your car when you were
I
trying.
did.
You were single. You slept in you had that in you.
I
You
did. Oh
had
yeah, I
to,
had no problem. And me, I'll sleep in the on the ground around a bunch of scorpions and snakes. Nothing scares me. I sleep on the desert in the middle of the desert without worrying about it. That's who I am. But when you get kids and a family and
yeah,
stuff, I
yeah.
mean, yeah,
That happens.
yeah.
Matrimony, man, killed
But
many in a
I'll tell
career.
you what though, it agrees with me because first off, I've already lived the other life. I've driven the cars without brakes. Here's another story, Dary. From California, I had a 1987 Plymouth Sundance going out to visit my son out there when he was younger. A Plymouth Sundance with a steering wheel broke down and I could wiggle it. I could this is how far I can move it. Okay.
Wow.
I took guitar strings. Okay. I tied them up all in all different angles so it would at least stay right around here so I could drive. Okay, without going one way. So I drove out there with guitar strings holding my steering wheel up. And this is a completely different car, not the 67 Galaxy. On the way back, I just go in California. You go I-10 from Palm Springs going towards Arizona, towards Phoenix. you go
I've
up
ridden
the
that road.
you go up the grade, right? The grade.
Yeah,
I
I've
start
driven that.
overheating. I'm thinking this piece of junk car. I stop. I feel water in it. I get into Phoenix. When I get into Phoenix, I start feeling a vibration on the steering wheel, and then like this. No kidding. My front axle started binding. And I'm thinking, I'm going to drive this car for as long as I can, and I'm going to hitchhike and get a bus back to Nashville. This is what happened for the next 7 days to get from to get. I just Elvis just fell. To get from Arizona to Nashville took me 7 days, and I normally did it in 28 hours straight.
What
I
time of
was
year
so
was it?
sick. No, I'm. This was 1994, 1995. Now check this out. The axle was binding and breaking enough to do this and take me 7 days. It broke the moment I pulled into my parking space on Elm Hill Pike in Nashville, Tennessee. That's when it broke.
Ah, you had a good angel. What time of year did you hit Phoenix? Do you remember?
Uh, well, that was actually I think July. It was very
So
hot.
you hit Phoenix over 100 degrees with
Oh,
the car overheating on top of it. How'd you get through Phoenix? That would have blown it
so
up.
So what I did is I had about 20 gallons of water in jugs. I had a radiator leak and I fixed it by putting some fix a leak in there. But then I had the axle binding and breaking. But
Wonder
it
why Elvis likes the car story.
I don't
Why'd he,
know.
why'd he knock your phone down on it? Elvis
He
got a
used to
car
love
story.
he
Oh,
loved
he
driving.
drove a truck, didn't he?
Well, not
Elvis
only
is
that,
probably thinking, I got a story when I was driving a truck. Let me on.
he drove his own buses back and forth. He would drive back and forth before he flew. He was
Yeah.
always driving. He drove the cars, he drove the buses.
He's got a car story. He wants to get on. Will you let Elvis on with you in this podcast? Come on,
I'm
Elvis.
asking.
Tell us your car story. We saw you drop the phone right in his lap. He's got a car story. I'm sure of it. Yeah. But wow, you've had a lot of car drama. Man.
That's why I always talk about my wife and my family have always said you got to write a book, but when you're working 60 hours a week in a job, Dairy, 60 hours is what I pull down. Then I have an eBay store with thousands of records. So I pack ship off stuff. I've got 5 YouTube channels. And then I got family time.
Wow.
So where is the
And I
time
get
for
and I
anything?
get mad when you're a half hour late for me.
Sorry.
You're so busy. No,
Sorry.
now I understand. You got all the kids and your son's Cole. Was it your son who was Cole
Uh,
who interrupted your pod? I just saw
no,
that when he didn't he come
Tucker.
in and say he was Cole?
Yeah. And here, like, see, this is 11 of my employees texting me today. So all day long, back and forth text. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's part of life. And then
And
on
it
top
all
of it,
gets pushed
I've
to
got to do
this.
this. Can you see any of these names? Okay.
Yeah.
The middle, it says Mama, Tucker and Weston, which is my 2 boys here. Anson, who was our boy that died. Skitty, Henry, Nico, Dottie, Franny, Charlie, Daisy, Elsie. And then you got Sappy,
Wow.
Fable, all the animals too
The
take up some
cats.
time. Cats and
The
dogs.
cat people love you now too. All the cat people I see. You're good. Where are the cats though in the room? They should be crawling all over. There's a cat in the room with you?
No, I. It's funny. I love cats, but they don't go in our room anymore, and they don't come in my studio room because they'll climb up on these Elvis records
Yeah.
and books and destroy them.
You don't let them in this room, right?
I don't.
Do they try to get in? Do they want to get in? Yeah. Anytime if you leave the door open, they'll run right in, right?
Yep,
Because it's something new. I know. I've seen that. And they're sneaky.
they
Boy, if
are.
you go to the
They.
restroom and leave a crack in the door, in they come into the new room. Yeah. And you have a catio? You're building a catio, I
I
heard.
built one. I already built one. It's like 8 by 12 or 8 by 20, something like that. And it's
How's that working?
so it's good. They go into the kitchen window. We've got a dehumidifier that cleans the air. They go through the kitchen window and they go out there and potty. And there's cat trees outside. And then I'm building one that goes to the outside world that they can walk around on too.
Wow. You should show pictures because I know someone building a catio at the moment. They look at the birds and look at nature and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that cool? Well, that's so cool. They want you to release that song too and build them a better catio with all the money that'll pour in.
I have a genius marketing idea. We can get one of the cats to lip sync it.
Like the chipmunks.
Yes.
It's Christmas music time. I was in my car the other day. There's a station here that plays Christmas music starting in November, and I heard the Chipmunks. The Chipmunks were a phenomena. They sold
I
millions of
loved their
albums.
songs. They were
I
great.
know. Alvin, and he's talking about Alvin. I
Yeah.
heard that song. The Chipmunks became big rock stars, and they got their own TV show too, and movies.
Yep.
They did an
Well,
ad They did a live, kind of a semi-live action movie with Earl from My Name is Earl. He played their manager.
hmm
There,
well, wasn't it Dave? We had Dave, and then
yeah,
Earl
Dave.
was. Yeah,
But My
Dave. Yeah.
Name is Earl was the famous actor who played Dave. He was their music manager,
Yeah,
right?
he was,
That was
and
the
he was
show.
also their owner, I think, wasn't he?
He owned the Chipmunks,
I thought
or
so.
or he was their manager. I don't know. I guess someone has to feed him. But
Yep.
he was their Colonel Parker. He was the Chipmunks version. Dave was their Colonel Parker. And they were a rock band or a band or whatever. Alvin,
They were the original boy band.
do you know the names? Can you
Alvin,
name them?
Simon, Theodore. Do
There you
do
go.
do 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 do.
They were a trio. Yeah, boy.
Right? Yeah, just three of them, I think. Yeah,
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. I think.
Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
Are we missing the bass player? Like in every band, nobody can name the bass player. Who's the
Oh my
bass
gosh.
player in the Chipmunks? You're looking it
Let's
up.
see. Alvin and the Chipmunks. Alvin, yeah. Alvin, Simon, and Theodore. There was three of them. It was a
If
trio.
you get that Elvis gave her Desiree out, there are three of them. Yeah. If you get Elvis gave her Desiree out, the Chipmunks will probably do a cover of it. Wouldn't that be
They're
something?
gonna say Alvin gave her Desiree.
Yeah. Their little name. Yeah, the
Alvin gave
Chipmunks will
her
do it.
Alvin gave her Desiree.
You know the song Creep by Radiohead?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Kermit sings that. There's a version by Kermit that he
Kermit the
does it.
Frog. My name is Kermit the Frog, and I sing because I love Miss Piggy.
He
Yes.
sang Creep. But he says I am green, and Piggy
I
didn't
am
love him.
green. Yeah.
Yes, people should look up Kermit singing the song Creep. It's great.
I did a version once of
Hilarious.
me singing it's a wonderful world with him with Kermit the Frog, I see trees are green,
Yeah.
red roses too,
Yeah, he does Creep.
I can sound like Louis Armstrong too, brother.
I'm a
I see
creep.
trees
I'm
are
a
green.
weirdo. He sings, I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? And he sings to Piggy. He sings Creep to Piggy, Radiohead's big hit.
I
So,
love it. I gotta look that
yeah.
up now.
Yeah, you got to see that. The viewers got to see it. So, boy, are we getting off. You said the channel doesn't like it when you veer off into
No, no,
others.
I think that the listeners are very good about it. But just the thing is, I'll tell you what I've discovered about YouTube. Okay, I can have a channel with 1,000 subscribers and get 30,000 views.
Yeah.
I can have a channel with 60,000 subscribers and get 500 views.
Yeah.
It's all about the niche. It's all about what YouTube says is appropriate for the subscribers of the channel. So what I've seen about my channel is that there's a lot of other like-minded subscribers that subscribe to Elvis, or they subscribe to another singer, or health tips, stuff like that, versus
Right.
another channel that the subscribers to that, they love to read about serial killers. And so it's going to attract, it's going to send it out to everybody that loves serial killers. And all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you have 1,000 subscribers and you got 30,000 views, and you get an extra 5,000 subscribers that week because it sends it out to the appropriate places. That's what YouTube does.
What I also noticed in going down the comment sections, looking for the naysayers, someone will write a beautiful, I love Lucy, Desiree, we love you. And she'll get 15, 20 likes on that comment of people who aren't commenting, but they're liking the people supporting the book. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of like being 200 comments and two naysayers, it's like 200 comments, maybe 5,000 people who support the book liking it, and the two
Yes,
naysayers, and the naysayers never get any likes. So I
that's
take
true.
heart in that, getting back to Are You Lonesome Tonight?
No, I think once again, the channel is overwhelmingly, this channel has been overwhelmingly supportive of Desiree and Lucy and your
Yeah.
book. And I wasn't sure. So Elvis and Lucy, a revelation of Elvis with Dary Matera. So there's 302 comments on that one. So you do get a lot. Elvis and Lucy, a revealing revelation part two, 293 comments. I mean, your videos are pretty much the videos about Lucy and you. Our conversations are very well commented. There's a lot of, and of course, it'll live on the internet for the next decade, 2 decades, as long
Yeah,
as
forever.
Priscilla doesn't come after me, you know?
I'm gonna have to defend people the rest of my life now,
No,
for because
I think
these
we're
live
doing a great
forever.
job. I think we're doing a great job bringing evidence and
Oh yes.
proving causation, you know, too.
So much more has come out. I wish I had those articles of that person, that woman dug up about.
Sandy Kirkendale has been great about sending stuff, and I found some stuff too. But you know, she really is digs very deep.
Yeah.
And then there's some other people too. Which when I don't want to say it'll be a final wrap up video, but in one of my wrap up videos, I'm going to shout at everybody that has sent me information. There's somebody sent me the whole 1953. Hey, I saw here Elvis was going into Beale Street playing in clubs in 1953. Here's a link to it. Stuff like that to help support this book, help support you, Lucy, and Desiree. I'm going to get that. I'm going to get
You got
it.
to read the afterwards of this. They're very, very emotional and very powerful, especially Lucy's. I think Lucy's is in the paperback.
I've already, you know, and I already did read that one because
Yeah.
somebody sent me the screenshots
Have you
and I just
read
read it.
Charles Hamilton's too?
I have not. I'm still waiting to get one on that.
You got to read that. Well, that's in the paperback, the
Oh,
American paperback. And it's at the end of this one. They put it, and he's got an affidavit in here too.
okay.
For all the naysayers, look, there's an affidavit from Charles, 3-page affidavit certifying the poem. They included that. England. This is the one where they call her Mum. They call Lucy Mum all the way through.
Okay.
The only thing they edited in the whole book was mother became mum. That
Mom,
must be a big deal in England that it's MUM.
there's almost 10% of the subscribers are from England, so they can answer that for you.
In Australia, yeah.
Yeah.
I asked before, why is mum so important? I guess it's cherished. A lot of Australian survivors too. I mean, subscribers that are contacting survivors.
Well, they're
So,
survivors. They've survived our videos, Derry.
yeah.
You know? How many
Are
Australian
we?
people have survived our video today? That's what I want to know in the
Yeah.
comments.
Have what? Survive? Yeah. Well, wasn't there Survivor Australia in the TV show?
Probably.
Yeah, they did that. Someone was telling me all about Perth and the climate and what's humid and what's dry in your comment section. I'm
Uh-huh.
learning about the weather in Australia.
Yes. Very, very dry over there.
Did you know the Elvis of Australia? There's a guy known as he did the song Shout that was in the movie American Animal
Gigolos?
House. You know
Oh.
that movie? It makes
Oh,
you
yeah, yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah.
shout, all right, up and shout. That great song that came out of
Yeah,
Animal House. There
yeah.
was an Australian who was called the Elvis of Australia. He was a big star, and that was his big hit,
Huh.
Shout. And there was a mini series on him that played in America. I watched it. It was very good. So the Australian people, the one that put us together, the lady who told you about me, she's from
Okay.
Australia. She probably knows who that guy is. Famous Australia. We're probably in hour 3 here, aren't we? Or wait
I
a
don't
minute.
know. Maybe. I'm
Started
trying,
at
I was trying to
1.
Google that, but
Oh, we started closer to 1. Okay. We don't want to kill the audience, all the MITs, but that Australian, it was a good mini series. And he was known as the Australian Elvis.
huh.
So somebody in the comments section will tell us, or
Yeah,
you're
because I
looking
can't
it
find it.
up.
I can't find it.
Yeah, the guy who wrote and sang Shout, which became a big soul song in America, but it was an Australian, almost country singer who makes me want to shout. You know, you do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
dance.
Because hit my hands out and shout,
You
da,
get
da, da,
low
da,
on
da,
the
and
dance
shout.
floor, then you
Yeah,
jump up. They did the whole scene in Animal House, the movie.
yeah. Get my hands up and shout. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
Oh, it was too funny. They
I
played
this
in their fraternity house. Then they went to the black bar to hear them again, and that was the funny scene where they're the only white people in that deep, deep black bar. Can I dance with your woman? With
well,
your
the original group was the Isley Brothers.
who did shout? No, they took it from the Australian guy, or maybe he took it from the
He took
Isley
it. He must have
brothers.
taken it from them.
And it made it a big hit in
Yes,
Australia.
I'm about to find out here too in Animal House.
What? Yeah, what Australian singer?
Otis Day and the Knights.
No, he's American.
Yeah, he's American.
Otis Day and the Night was the band in Animal House. The Australian Elvis, who had a big hit with an Elvis. You just Google what Australian singer was known as the Australian Elvis who sang the song Shout.
I just tried that. It wasn't pulling up.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
it was a mini series from long ago.
Johnny O'Keefe.
Yeah,
Johnny O'Keefe.
Johnny, do you know who that is?
And the DJs. No, but I'm looking at him right now.
Oh, everybody, all your Australian people are saying, geez, Johnny O'Keefe. We know Johnny.
Who sang Johnny? Said Johnny O'Keefe sings "Shout" at Sydney Stadium, 1959, National Film and Sound Archive. So 59 is when he came out and sang it.
And when did the Isley Brothers sing it? Did they
Uh,
take it from him or did he take it
I
from
bet. I bet. Yeah, they took it from him. That was 64. Was the Isley Brothers? So Johnny
See?
O'Keefe was the OG.
He was the OG of the song Shout. I remember seeing his miniseries. It was good. He
Huh.
was good. He had a weird life and all that, but all the Australian people in the comment section are going to be saying, why didn't you know Johnny O'Keefe? He's our Elvis. So they'll have to tell us about it. The lady who hooked us up, who's that woman?
Kathy Pitts, I think.
Yeah, she's Australian, right?
I believe so.
She
Kathy, let us
probably
know.
she probably dated Johnny O'Keefe. I'm sure she's seen him in concert, so she'll have to let us know if she's seen. It's a good miniseries if you see his miniseries.
I have not seen it. Nope.
No, a
Yeah,
lot of people.
Kathy Pitts. Yeah, that's her name.
Yeah, Kathy Pitts, and she's Australian, so I'm sure she knows Johnny O'Keefe.
Good eye, Sheila. Good eye, Sheila. Happy to have you on the show or something. Shoe. Yeah. All right,
So
Dary. Well, it's wonderful talking. That's kind of what we do. We just have a conversation, don't we?
yeah, we go all over the place. We ran or ramble, but I'm glad I read all this. It brought back a lot of memories. I took notes. And remember Washington Post, the famous quote in August 1987, the morning of Desiree's ascension. Washington Post. So who cares about DNA? She's already been certified. The moment that poem was, and you got to read Charles Hamilton's and thing.
I
It's
will.
beautifully written. He did a good job. I was shocked. He was so excited. He gets so many forgeries, and then he sees something that's real like that. He starts out. What is the words from? Let me read the words. We'll end with the words from Charles Hamilton. You are holding in your hands one of the most astonishing love stories of our time, perhaps of all time. The story is told by Lucy de Barbin, the first and greatest love of Elvis Presley. That's how he opens his report on it. He put his whole reputation, 50 years, he said, 50-year reputation he put on the line, and all the naysayers. So anyway, Friday the 13th, you going to party tonight, or you're a family man? You gave up your party days.
I'm gonna take my wife to TJ Maxx, and she's gonna buy a couple tops or something. That's our party, and then we're gonna have a couple drinks and play some darts. I'm gonna take this camera off and kind of show you. We like to play some darts right there.
Oh,
So
well, you take your kids to 4 different restaurants for each taste, dress them up in their Halloween costumes, and ask people will know, why are you dressed as Friday the 13th? Your
Friday the
kids will
13th.
love it. They'll have a ball. They still have the Halloween. What were they? Listen, do you remember what your kids were on Halloween this year?
Yes, my son was a Pokemon, some sort of a special Pokemon that we
Which
actually
one?
I
You
had to
can't
make
just say a Pokemon. You got to say which one.
I had to make the costume.
What Pokemon?
It's so weird. It's so rare. I don't even know. I had to make the costume according to the
Oh,
picture. Like
oh,
literally, this is what we did. We bought a blue shirt, a blue bottom, and then I was doing different colored tapes to make the different things on the arms. And then my older son was he was another Pokemon too. I don't know. There's so many of them, Dary. There's like 5 million Pokemon.
I know. My son was super big, and my son can name them all. My son, the Lord, he can name all 5,000 Pokemon. He was just by that description. If he was on my shoulder, he'd have told you which one your son was. Your
Yeah.
son's going to be upset that you don't know. They know.
Weston, I'm sorry, buddy. There's just too many Pokemon for Daddy.
And what was the others?
I've got to tell you this too as we close. Weston has he's got hundreds of stuffed animal Pokemons. And you know
Wow.
those things are 30 to 40 bucks each. So
Yeah.
all of his allowances, he pays for his allowances. He's gonna have a YouTube channel. Well, he already has one, but he's gonna start reading books on one of my channel. I told him whatever money you make for the views, you're gonna get. So, but he has every Pokemon. I don't know. I mean, hold on.
You should show us his room. Can
Oh
you
boy.
show us his room? Hey, did you know one of Hunter Biden's tapes with the women? It
Yeah.
became trended because there was a Pokemon in the background.
Did
One
it?
of the
Okay.
Pokemon was in the background in one of his sex tapes, Hunter Biden. So that became a big phenomena. Oh, look at
So,
your Christmas tree. That's beautiful.
yeah.
Did you have anything to do with that, or all your wife?
I had a lot to do with that.
Oh, I don't do mine. But
Oh, on
yeah.
the shelf right there. No, we make it a big deal. We do Christmas and decorate up. And let me see here.
Cody, are you here? Cody,
Oh, here's some of the cats in with some stuffed animals.
there's Pikachu. And there's a cat in the middle, buried. That's like the scene from there are two cats.
There's two of them there.
That's like the scene from E.T.
Let's see.
Remember when E.T.
Yeah,
had hid with all the stuffed animals?
they got one here.
Yeah. Cody will tell you oh, that's Pikachu.
And here's
That's
a cat. Here's a cat in
that,
a laundry basket.
what's the pink one? No, the baby blue one next to Pichu.
This
What?
is
Let me see. Show us that one.
well, no, I don't know here. He's got them put up in a bin underneath the bed, I think.
Let me see if I know them all. I've
Oh, here they
seen
go. Here we
I've
go.
seen
Hold on.
15 Pokemon movies. Have you seen any of the movies?
We have
I've seen 15 of them. They're all good. They're very good. Cody, where's my son? I guess he's hiding. Who's the purple one?
The purple one? Good Lord, I don't know. But
Yeah,
these are
wow.
all Pokemon, you know?
And my son would name them all. If
He
he was
would.
behind me, yeah, look at those. That's the fox one.
This is Squirtle.
You bought them all?
Well, this is just some of them.
Wow.
But you know what? He plays with them, and that's kind of a thing that which is great because kids he plays video games, but he plays with
Yeah.
his stuffed animals all the time.
Does he
And
have the cards? He must have the cards.
he's got some. He's got some.
He likes the
So,
stuffed animals. Wow.
you know,
Wow. See, we got that. I've seen like 600 episodes of the show. I know all his girlfriends. Ash is 10 years old. He had like six girl. Ash was like Elvis. He's had
ask
six,
Catio.
he's had six girlfriends or seven, eight now. Every 2 years, he gets a new sidekick little girlfriend.
Okay.
So I see, I know Pokemon. I know hardly any subject because I was in journalism and I did stories all the time. And then I had kids, Pokemon, and
This is your. He'll know. This was the Halloween costume. The head.
my son will know.
You know,
Yeah.
that's just for you. Hey, check this out. This is a sealed album. My very first album in Nashville, 1996. You can have
Wow.
the keys to my truck.
Hey, when you going to hold and Elvis gave her Desiree a copy of that? That
Soon.
one's still sealed, right? Was that still sealed?
Yeah, still sealed. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw that. Wow. All right. We could do this forever.
we could.
What are we doing next week? We don't even know what topic. Oh, you're gonna get this book and read the afterwards and read Charles Hamilton's. Did you
Yep.
ever find some people are still denying Elvis cried when he's singing Are You Lonesome Tonight? All the naysayers. One guy said it was sweat coming down his forehead. It doesn't wash into your eyes and then come down. I mean, it's crazy people. He was crying. It's at the end of This Is Elvis. You said you just watched it, right?
Yeah.
And they did a close up of it. They know drama. The producer knows drama. A big close up of his face. The tear comes right out down his cheek. You see that recently?
I did. Yep.
All right. Well, anyway, we're ready to sign off.
We are.
What a day.
With all the Pokemon and
Yeah.
conversations and the elf on the shelf and the cat.
Yeah. Hey, you know that speaking of that, there was a wrestler who was Elvis.
Oh
Remember
yes,
the
Honky Tonk Man.
honky tonk man? He even sang, didn't he?
He did.
He wrestled and sang. I wonder if he had to pay the Elvis Presley estate to be honky tonk man.
He probably did.
Yeah, wow. Wow, we could go on forever. All right,
All right. Hey,
let's sign
have fun
off.
partying tonight. Happy Friday
Uh,
the 13th.
yeah, it's early here in Arizona. It's only almost 3 o'clock. So I got up parties all night. I'm gonna wear this. Same outfit.
I like it.
Woohoo! Friday the 13th.
I like it. All right, we're gonna sign
Bring your
off here.
kids out to the 4 restaurants. You have to go to each individual kid. That stuck in my mind. How you have to go to different takeout restaurant. Boy, you're a good dad. You'd be great on the road traveling in the RV with your kids. You'd have to stop at McDonald's for one, Burger King for another, Wendy's for
When,
another.
when, when we went on the road, when Tucker, who's now 17, he was 5 or 6 when we went on the road, and we did 30,000 miles in 45 days. He collected all these Smurfs from McDonald's. He got monster trucks, every Walmart. So yeah, we accumulated
Wow.
every single Smurf from McDonald's and every monster truck you could find. So he had a
Wow.
good time. You're right.
Beanie Baby. I think didn't they have Beanie Baby? Did you go through that where you had to go to 10 different McDonald's or Burger Kings they had
That,
Pokemon for a while. I had to hunt Pokemon, I think had a Mewtwo or something who's a legendary. Man, did I have to comb the city to
been
find
there.
Find my son. You've been there.
Yep.
All right. All right. Let's
All
go.
right, I'm going to hit
Go
stop
on
here.
forever.
So, Dary Matera, conversation will be back next week.
All right. Bye.
All right.
All right.